You're lost in Brook Hollow Park with nothing but an Omni tool and a few friends to watch your back. My name is Kodiak, this is Legacy Gaming, and these are 10 of the rare resources that'll make you OP, where to find them in Grounded 2. Acorns are an essential resource needed in dozens of Grounded 2 recipes, from armor and trinkets to base pieces and mounts. Unlike the first game, they're not randomly scattered across the world, but instead more localized to a specific part of Brook Hollow Park, the southwest corner near the large oak tree. Keep this in mind as you choose your place to build a base, because throughout your progression, you'll need dozens, if not hundreds, of acorn parts. If you end up building too far away, you'll have to hoof it each time you need acorns, and that can be a bit of a pain. When broken with the Omni Hammer, acorns break into 3 different pieces: the acorn top, acorn shell, and acorn bits. Better still, each of the 3 resources can be analyzed. The acorn top unlocks the blueprints for the acorn face mask armor, sap catcher, which allows you to easily harvest sap off of any tree root, and acorn fence piece. The acorn shell unlocks the plans for the acorn plate and acorn greaves armor, as well as the sturdy shell trinket, sign frame base item, and all-important storage chest. Finally, the acorn bit rewards you with the recipe for the boost juice smoothie. Clay might not seem like a very important item early on in Grounded 2, but once you have access to more durable base building blueprints, you're going to need it by the buggy load. Clay is actually not that hard to find, but you need to know where to look. In front of the hot dog cart and scattered throughout the middle left side of the park are a number of small ponds. These are shallow and usually filled with gnats and the occasional mosquito, but if you look carefully, you'll also spot areas of reddish-brown lumps. These are clay nodes, and using your Omni shovel, you can dig up a few pieces of clay per node. When analyzed, clay unlocks an important set of base building materials: the clay foundation, ramp, curved foundation, half foundation, and quarter foundation. Early on, this is a great option for building a sturdy base. Clay ends up being a heavily used mid-game resource, so get in the habit of harvesting this whenever the opportunity presents itself. As you're exploring, keep an eye out for the larger clay deposits, which will yield even more clay. If you plan on using a bow at any point during Grounded 2, then you'll want to make sure you know where to find Thistle Needle. This can be a bit elusive at first, but if you know your botany, then Thistle should be relatively easy to spot, even from far away. Identifiable by its bright pink flower up top, Thistle can be found throughout the middle of Brook Hollow Park on either side of the broken pathway leading to the statue. Unlike weeds, you can't actually cut down a thistle plant, but you can harvest the thistle needles found embedded into the stalk. Use the leaves to jump up the entire length of the plant, looting the needles as you climb, and by the time you reach the top, you will have dozens of needles. When analyzed, thistle needles reward you with the recipe to craft arrows and the nifty needle trinket, which when equipped increases the amount of damage your charge shot does. Given the game's new focus on class archetypes, and with a number of arrows required as an ingredient to craft specialty arrows, you'll always need to have thistles on hand. Once you unlock the acorn turret and need to defend your base, you'll also need Thistle Needle to craft pointy rounds, a potent ammunition for killing bugs. Elusive but highly valuable, grubs are a key resource needed in a number of important recipes throughout Grounded 2. These non-aggressive insects can be found practically anywhere in Brook Hollow Park if you know what to look and listen for. Grubs have to be dug up from underground, similar to how you would farm them in the first game. However, they're much more abundant in the park, but also required in more recipes. As you're exploring, look for patches of disturbed dirt moving atop the ground erratically. You'll also be able to hear the slight crunch of something moving underground. If that sound is louder than normal, more like a rumble, then leave the dirt alone, as it's most likely a larva that will pop out and attack you. However, most of the time it's a harmless grub. Attack it once or twice, and then you'll be able to loot it for grub hide and grub slime. When analyzed, grub hide will reward you with the recipe to craft grub leggings, part of a ranger set. In a similar vein, the grub slime rewards you with the recipe to craft the grub vest armor piece. If you want to complete the set with the grub goggles, you'll need to analyze raw gnat meat, which you can easily get by killing the flying gnats found around the various puddles. Definitely a more rare resource, quartzite and marble are primarily found underground, usually within anthills. This is a critical resource used for upgrading your weapons and armor, something you'll want to do as you push deeper into the game. Both are relatively hard to spot, mainly because they blend into the environment, but like all things, once you know what to look for, it's hard to miss moving forward. Marble pieces look like small polished stones. You can find the occasional piece above ground, usually around points of interest, but for the most part you'll find them deep underground. The same could be said for quartzite, but instead you're looking for a reddish-brown stone with angular geometry. This one is really tricky to spot with the naked eye, and we've missed our fair share, but trust me, you'll want to gather as much as possible. Luckily, you only need the first rank of the Omni Hammer to harvest either of these resources, which means you can start harvesting from the jump. Brittle quartzite shards are used to make brittle whetstones, which are used to upgrade weapons, while brittle marble shards are used to make brittle plating, which are used to upgrade armor. Whetstones and plating are both used at the smithing station, which is a small workstation that's unlocked as part of the main quest after you recover the Turbo Stolen Optical Disc. Each time you upgrade a piece of gear, it either increases its damage or defense, as well as its durability. One of the truly rare resources you'll need to track down in Grounded 2 are blueberries, and unlike the first game, these are far more elusive as there's no clear giveaway on the map to their location. To find blueberries, you'll need to head to this small patch of bushes here on the south side of the park. It doesn't look like much, but head to this area and you'll find dozens of ripe berries ready to be harvested. Remember to bring a bow and plenty of arrows, as you'll need them to knock down the berries from the bushes above. Blueberries are an essential gateway resource required for upgrading your Omni Axe to rank 2, which is needed to harvest Tier 2 resources. When analyzed, blueberry chunks unlock the ability to craft the blueberry chair, a fun base cosmetic, the Hedgelord smoothie, and the all-important blueberry leather needed for a number of important recipes, including the Omni Axe rank 2 upgrade, which requires 2,000 science, 2 roach chunks, and 2 blueberry leather to upgrade. New to Grounded 2 are pine needles, a crucial resource that opens up a new tier of base building blueprints. Because of their importance to construction, you can actually find quite a lot of these in the west to northwest part of the map. You might think they're relegated to the pine tree section in the far northwest corner, but you can actually find a ton of these just north of the hot dog cart, extended all the way up to that pine tree section. What you're looking for are pine branches or just needle bundles that have fallen to the ground. All along the branch are needles which you can chop off using an Omni Axe rank 2, and the needle bundles net you around 6 pine needles. When analyzed, pine needles unlock the entire pine base building blueprints, which are a huge step up from the grass-based building materials you've most likely been using up to this point. As I said, you will need a lot of pine needles if you want to build an entire base out of pine, but luckily, they're abundant within the park. Returning to Grounded 2 are flower petals, a simple yet elusive resource that unlocks a relatively niche but powerful workstation. Flowers can only be found in a few spots throughout Brook Hollow Park. The first and easier location to reach is just south of the picnic table, where you can find a flower that's tipped off the table and landed on the ground. The more abundant place to find flowers is in the northeast, in the small garden at the base of the Dr. Tully and Burgle statue. To access this part of the park, you need to enter one of the concrete causeways that leads you into a small underground area. If you follow this through, you'll end up in an ominous base that eventually dumps you out into the upper level in the garden. Once you're there, you'll want to find the bright purple flowers that are scattered throughout the area. Shoot them with a bow or attack them with a weapon, and the petals will fall off, which you can gather. When analyzed, the flower petals unlock the grinder workstation, which allows you to take a number of raw resources and refine them into either milkweed chunks or plant fiber. This might seem unnecessary, but if you're a base builder, this is a lifesaver, as you end up with a workstation that allows you to recycle old resources into usable materials. Milkweed chunks are also a gateway to another new set of base building materials, so you're going to want this just so you can unlock that. Like I said, it's a niche workstation, but it's a powerful one. New to Grounded 2 is a second type of berry, the Lingonberry, which are a Tier 2 resource and require the Omni Axe rank 2 to harvest. These can be found on the west side of the map. North of the hot dog cart are 2 hedgerows, which you can see from your map. If you head underneath the bushes and look up, you'll see lingonberries, which are red. Because the bushes are dense, it's also very dark, which can make it hard to see the berries at first. But shoot them down with a bow, and so long as you have the rank 2 axe, you can harvest them the same way you do blueberries. Be aware there are a number of enemies under each hedgerow, so keep your eyes peeled for larvae, scorpions, and whatever else might be lurking. When analyzed, the Lingonberry chunk unlocks the ability to craft Lingonberry leather and the Blazing Brew smoothie. Lingonberry leather is another resource required to upgrade your Omni tools, specifically the Omni Hammer, to rank 2, which requires 2,000 science, 1 ladybug head, and 3 Lingonberry leather. Upgrading your hammer allows you to crack spicy candy and fresh mints, which you'll need to do if you want to craft the new magical weapons within the game. One of the rarest resources in Grounded 2, at least at this point, are the spicy candy and fresh mints, which are essential resources needed to craft the 2 currently available magical weapons in the game, alongside a few other prominent recipes. These aren't exactly easy to farm, but there is a general rule of thumb. You'll always find either spicy candy or fresh mints at points of interest that are related to humans. A perfect example is the Pebble Village lunchbox in the southern part of the park. If you head there, you'll find an overturned lunchbox, and inside, you'll find both types of candy. If you head slightly east from here, just next to the blueberry patch, you'll find even more spicy candy. Another good spot for candy is up on the picnic table, another point of interest. Again, anywhere you would normally find human activity, you'll most likely find candy. Another place to keep an eye on is underground in anthills. We were pleasantly surprised with the number of candies we found underground, and so long as you don't burn through your resources fast, you'll end up with a nice stockpile. When analyzed, the mint shard unlocks the recipes for the mint arrow, as well as the egg storage workstation, which allows you to safely store buggy eggs without the chance of them spoiling. When analyzed, the spicy shard unlocks the spicy arrow. While analyzing both resources isn't all that exciting, having plenty of these on hand becomes important, especially as you craft and utilize magical equipment and then have to start repairing it, which requires candy. I should also mention that these candies will eventually respawn within the park over time, so technically, you can hit up the same spot multiple times throughout your adventure. So there you have it, 10 rare resources you'll need to harvest to get OP in Grounded 2. If you have any questions about these resources or other resources in the game, be sure to leave us a comment below, or better yet, join our official Discord and reach out to Livid and myself directly. As always, if you like this video and found the guide helpful, do me a solid and hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing. We'll have more Grounded 2 in your feed soon, so keep it here and don't miss a thing. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching and play on.